Welcome back. It's Dr. Jen Ferboni, better known as DocJenFit, Doctor of Physical Therapy. And I want to talk to you today about shin splints, especially for my runners out there who are feeling a lot of tension in their shins. Now, traditionally, shin splints are affecting the muscle on the inside of this leg here. Okay. And we actually have a podcast all about what shin splints really is, how it's diagnosed, why we get it, and what other exercises we can do to help support what's happening and prevent shin splints. So I highly recommend going and listening to that podcast. We have a YouTube episode all on it, and you can see some of the visuals that we talk about as well. And I just want to run through some exercises that you can save and use and come back to. So the first one, we want to get that whole lower body kind of working well together because we're going to use a lot of quads when we're running, glutes, and our calves. And especially, we want to target that inside muscle here on the inside of our foot. So we're going to come into a wall sit. Now, wall sits are not usually people's favorites, definitely not mine. And we're going to add a little bit of more of a challenge by rising up onto your heels and staying over the ball of the toe. If you want to make it even a little bit more challenging, you can add like a ball or a block and kind of squeeze that and make sure you stay over the ball of the toes. Now, if you want even more of a challenge, come up and down. Slow on the way down, slow on the way up, and staying over the ball of the big toe. So think of those ankles coming toward each other as you come up and down, and try 10 of those at least as you're staying in that wall sit. Really slow. Do 3 sets of this and see how it feels, or just holding for 30 to 60 seconds in that heel raise position. So next one we're going to do on the floor here. We're going to start to work those glutes, the side of the glutes, our glute med that really needs that stability, especially as we're running, because that's going to affect what's happening down the chain and up the chain. So we're going to come down laying on your side. This is one of my favorite ones to start to activate the hip. So you're going to lay about a foot away from the wall here. Your bottom leg is kind of kicked out in front of you, and your top leg, you want to engage from the core first. So squeezing that core, bringing the rib cage down to meet your hips. You're going to lift that back leg and then kick it into the wall. And if you feel like you have to move your pelvis to kick it back, I want you to just scoot a little closer to the wall. Okay. You don't want to arch in your back. We really want the glute to be working here. So tuck that tailbone just a little bit, reach that leg, kick it back. Other leg is going to stabilize here, almost like you're lifting that knee off the ground. That's going to help by using that inner thigh and then cross-sectional with that outer leg in that glute. So now, keeping that core connected, I'm kicking that heel into the wall, drag it up just a tiny bit until you feel that pressure, kick back, and we're going to hold that for 60 seconds. So squeezing in that glute, keep that leg tight, and keep that core engaged. Breathing from that core, squeeze and hold. So we're just working on holding, tucking that tailbone under, kicking that leg back, dragging that heel up the wall. It's not literally going to lift, but it's going to feel like it's dragging up the wall as you're breathing, holding, and contracting. And if you do that 3 times on each side, you're going to start to feel how that hip is starting to engage. This next one is similar to the first one, but instead of really targeting the quads, we're going to target more of the glutes while we're doing that heel raise. So we're going to do a bridge, but not your traditional bridge, right? So you're going to lie on your back. And when we're doing a bridge, you want to think of engaging that core again. So dropping that rib cage over that pelvis, and you lift as a unit here, tucking that tailbone under just slightly. But now when we're here, instead of just digging into your heels, you actually want to push the ball of your foot down and think of rising up and feeling those calves engage. Now holding there as much as you can, not lifting too high, but thinking of tucking that tailbone under. You're going to feel your hamstrings, your glutes, and your calves really firing up and working here. Again, staying toward the ball of that foot, lifting into as high of a heel raise as you can. And you can experiment. If you walk out just a little bit more, you're probably going to feel more hamstrings engage with those calves. If you come in just a little bit more, you're going to feel maybe a little bit more glutes as you rise up. So experimenting with different positions, but just trying not to get into that low back. Take that tailbone, drop it down, drop that rib cage down, and then rise up and hold. Goal here is 30 to 60 seconds, 3 to 5 sets. You're really going to start to feel those muscles working for you, which is what we want when we start to go run. Last one we're going to do is a standing single leg pronation supination. When we're going from flattening that arch to lifting that arch, we're starting to really contract that posterior tib muscle, that muscle that I'm talking about on the inside of that ankle there, that we really start to fall into issues with. And the reason a lot of times, depending on our shoe, our form, when we're running, if we're going a lot into that pronation, we're stretching that tendon and making it work, stretching that tendon, making it work. So let's make it stronger, going from opening into that full mobility of the foot and then strengthening as we rotate around. So what it's going to look like, all the pressures on my single leg, you're going to have your knee bent a little bit. And then you rotate and you let that arch literally fall. Knee coming in, flattening in the foot as much as possible. Then you're going to rotate along that foot all the way in until you feel that foot kind of contract and getting into that posterior tib. And then rotating out, flattening, and then rotating in, squeezing. Rotate out, flat. Rotate in, squeeze, and you keep going back and forth, and you should feel that foot really working just by 10 of these on each leg. You can try a couple sets, but if it's your first time, honestly, just 10 is all you need. You're going to start to feel that bottom of your foot really start to fire up, which is going to help to support what's happening as you're running. Hopefully those were supportive. If you learned something new, let me know in the comments below. What are you going to start to add in to help support yourself, especially if you're a runner and you want to prevent any shin splints? Don't forget, if you love what you're learning, I have so much more in stock for you. So hit that subscribe button, check out the other videos I've done in the past, and leave any comments of any suggestions that you have for videos in the future. And I can't wait to help you feel incredible and amazing within your body.